Hello and welcome once again to Ignite Your Impact. My name is Jen Rhodes. I am not sitting next to Mr. Matt Rhodes. You are getting another solo episode of the two of us this week. So we are going to officially title this episode number 99.5 because I refuse to do our 100th episode without my partner in crime, the Mac to my cheese, my husband of 23 years. So we're going to wait to title next week's episode the official 100. You had one with him all by himself a couple of weeks ago when I did not have a voice. You can tell I am slowly regaining my voice. It's coming back. It's coming back. It's still trying. But I am feeling so much better. I'm still gaining my strength back from whatever the hell I had. Doctors are still running a couple tests because the energy's still coming back. I've got my days, but I'm back in the gym lifting, feeling great in terms of that. Guys, I got the full clearance from my knee surgeon this week. I am good to go. And I even practice ran in physical therapy. So all things are great. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl. It's a beautiful week in Kansas City. We are just thriving and happy to be alive and grateful for all the lessons, right? So we're going to wait to call next week's episode number 100 because I don't want to pass that milestone without my partner, the love of my life. And I'm sure he said lovely things about me when I was gone, right? I wanted to take a moment and make today's podcast more tactical. So if you can, I would encourage you to jump over to our YouTube channel. I'm going to get a little bit fired up. Hopefully I don't knock over this setup. I've got my desk set up a little bit differently than we normally record because it's just me and Matt can't sit on me. And I'm going to use my hands a lot today. So this is something that I have trained on in our Facebook group, and it's something that I love teaching about because there's so many ways you can make the fitness game as muddy of water as you want. And when you get down to the brass tacks of any fitness goal, of any fat loss goal, it breaks down to a few key points. And if you don't understand and master those key points, you're going to find yourself in a loop. And if you found yourself in a loop lately, I want you to tune in, whether you're listening on your device, if you're at the gym, if you're walking the dog, if you're watching us on YouTube, just take a minute and be prepared to take some notes. Today is tactical. I am going to cover the 4-letter words that you need to know and master for fat loss. It's a very, very, very tactical training. And I want you to be able to understand and be able to implement this immediately. I want to share a story though, before I dive in. I sent a message out to anybody that's requested information on trainings that I do, services that I offer. In the marketing world, we call it a lead magnet. Hey, I made this. Do you want it? And the more information that I put out, it's funny to me. And I've noticed it. And it's something I'm going to start attacking. We have decided that there needs to be a silver bullet. And that something so simple and so foundational seems too good to be true. Why didn't I fix it yet? Well, I know all of this. I'm just not doing it. And I want to tell you, if you're listening and you're one of our people, you're not like that. You're not a victim. You've learned that the fitness industry has been riddled with people that just try to keep you stringing along. We give you the outline. And every single one of my success stories will tell you that everything that I teach is everything that I teach. I hold nothing back. I give away all the dirty little secrets, and any good fitness professional will tell you the exact same thing. A good program is rooted in the basics and nothing else. And what clients pay me for, what I get to charge $5,000 is to keep you out of your own way. Because I got to be honest, I should charge more. We have a lot of things messing us up and getting in our way. And the story I wanted to share, I had a gal that reached out to me for one of the pieces of fat loss. Do you want my guide? I'm teaching it today. Hey, I have this. Do you want my guide for fat loss? And she responded back, I know all of these tools, and this all seems like marketing. I'm already paying $500 a month. There's no way I can afford to hire you. I'm already doing X, Y, and Z tactic. And I'm going to be honest, it pissed me the hell off. It pissed me off that the industry has made us so jaded that you can't see past marketing to know that I gave you the fucking formula. So whatever you're doing clearly isn't working, and maybe you should revisit those investments. Maybe those tactics aren't working because they're trying to keep you confused. And I'm going to lay it out exactly how we've done in previous trainings as well. We've given the keys to many of this in many of our podcasts. And it's funny because the people that join our program and the people that have the success trust it, even though it feels too good to be true. Well, there's got to be something different. There's not. You need to get out of your own way. My job and what you're paying me to do is to keep that promise. Well, there's got to be a silver bullet. Maybe we should keto. Maybe we should carb cycle. Stop. So I want to go through the 4-letter words that you need to understand and master. Keyword is master, meaning it's not an 80-20 rule. You need to master these things, meaning they're automated. It's no question. You're going to always do this because you've made it part of your identity. There's some 4-letter words that you need to know. Now, I don't know if this is you. And if it is, please reach out. If you've ever spent a month eating healthy, well, I eat healthy enough, only to find that the scale hasn't budged. And all you can think about is everything you've deprived yourself of, right? I remember giving up pizza for Lent one year, and all I could think about was pizza. I don't know if that sounds like something you've done in the past. Or have you ever worked out in the gym so hard, consistently, only to see the scale move maybe a pound? Or maybe you've tried that program that you are busting your ass, that 75 hard, that P90X, where you are literally killing yourself, showing how mentally tough you are, only to put the weight back on 6 months later. My goal today is to teach you and to clarify that when it comes to fat loss, calories in versus calories out will not cut it. It just won't. You have to understand metabolically what you need to put in versus get out. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave comments. I want to know that this resonates with you. But I've got to share another story before I get into the tactics. And my people, I know you're already laughing because you already know what I'm going to say. You already know the tactics I'm going to give. And it's almost like robotic that until I automated these tactics, I was in this loop. I was a busy mom. I was a business owner. I was determined to reach these weight loss goals, even before we created the Phoenix Method. The Phoenix Method is rooted in these tactics. And I knew that getting to my weight loss goal wasn't going to be easy, but I knew that if I stuck with it, if I was consistent, I would get there eventually. I knew that it's going to take at least 90, 120, 160 days. I know that. It didn't take me that long to get there. It took me longer than that to get there. So I knew it was going to take at least that amount of consistent behavior, no wavering, no setbacks, blah, 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 to get there. And so each day I woke up early to hit the gym, and then I would come home to whip up healthy meals for myself, for my family, and just get everybody good to go. And no matter how hard I worked out, the scale did not budge. I was frustrated. And it was at that point that I decided to get a little bit more extreme in my tactics and decided to show myself how tough I was, how committed I was, how mentally strong I was. Does this sound familiar? I just need better willpower. I need to commit. I need to show I can endure so that I can get the good stuff. And even through that, I was still teaching high intensity classes and lifting, like on my own lifting routine, and even running when I could fit it in. Think about that. That's a lot. That's a lot just to say. And I'm embarrassed that that was my world. I'm even more embarrassed that I decided I could starve myself in the mix to get that goal. Now, at the time, I thought physiologically, like I thought my aesthetic was good. I was like, ooh, dancer's bod, really nice. But I have to be honest, I was miserable. I was exhausted. I was not even exhausted. My organs were shutting down. I was in the process of shutting down completely. I was close to a complete organ failure. I was on that path. I don't know how exhausted you are, but I have to tell you guys, there's a better way. The days blurred together as exhaustion. I could not get up on top of this exhaustion. And to couple that, I couldn't sleep. Gee, I don't know why. And no matter how much pain I was in, how many injuries I had to keep moving because it was the only way I knew how to deal with my stress. I don't know if you're like that. I don't know if you work out to relieve your stress. I shared this in my Facebook group earlier that I used to run to outrun my demons. And I would tell my family and I would tell my managers, I'm going on a run. I'll be back when the voices in my head stop screaming. That's bananas. That's absolutely bananas. But you may feel the same way. You may just not say it out loud. If it is you, I want you to reach out. I want to help you. There are things that we can do for free that can help get you at least somewhat on top of this mountain. My adrenals were shot from constantly having to produce cortisol in response to the stress of my workouts and meal preps and two-a-days and working out outside for 30 minutes. You know I'm describing a certain plan. We're going to call it 75. Why the fuck does it have to be so hard? Because it doesn't. My hormones were out of balance. My hormones are still out of balance because of that behavior. I am still working to gain balance in that. 3 years later, my body is still feeling the effects of that damage, that amount of damage. I'm getting on top of it. Finally. Those nutrient balances. It's so funny. I just had blood work done. And the doctor's like, this piece of your cholesterol is really high, but everything looks perfect. And I said, okay, what does that mean? And she said, have you ever had an eating disorder? And I just sat back. I'm like, oh, well, and I described my life for 10 years, teaching and lifting and running and running and running and lifting and teaching. And although it wasn't an eating disorder by nature, it did the same amount of damage on my body. I didn't have to work out compulsively to work off food that I had eaten. I had just dug myself in such a hole that my body's like, sorry, this is where we're at. And I'm still coming out of that hole. Isn't that wild? I needed time to rest and recover from all of that activity, but I was also not feeding myself. So it was just this constant. And I started to wonder, God, is this worth it? Maybe this is just how my body's going to operate. And funny enough, I got sick. My wake-up call came in the form of mono. I got really sick. I had to lay in bed for 3 weeks, and I couldn't move. And I got really nervous at that point. I thought, oh my God, I can't work out. I'm going to get fat, blah, 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 la, 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 la. All those stories you tell yourself. I'm starting from square one. How the hell am I going to get better? And it dawned on me. And it was about that time that Matt started working with his coach. And I noticed him slowly doing less and eating more. And I noticed his mood shift. I noticed his energy shift. And so I still had to continue my physical schedule. I couldn't stop. Others were not requiring. Others were depending on me to deliver the product that I charged them for. So I had to teach those classes. But other areas of my life, I slowed down. Instead of running, I turned to just walking. Well, but I really love listening to music when I run. Cool. How do you just walk? So I started listening to podcasts. I started putting some good things in my brain, just helping me get more recovery, even though I wasn't allowed to really rest. And we started eating a little bit more too. And I just slowly started, it's like, oh, I kind of feel better. Maybe there's something to this. Maybe I need somebody to help keep me out of my own way. And that's when we decided to hire the coach for me as well. And now I lift 4 times a week. I don't do HIIT. I do not do cardio. If I do cardio, I do it in conjunction with a plan with my coach, meaning I just got cleared to run. Do you think I'm going to go start running 3 miles a day? No. My coach and I have a plan. So now that I know my body can run and my knee feels pretty darn good because I've recovered and put on muscle in physical therapy, now we're going to do a mini bulk and really get my muscle firing again, get strong again, so that if I want to run once or twice a week, we know what my calories need to look like 4 weeks prior so that I can put on a little extra weight so that I'm not cannibalizing my muscle when I do start running. Now, I'm not going to start running until probably May, whenever the purple flowers fall off the trees. That's when I start running. So I still have a while to prep, but I know that I see that light at the end of the tunnel. And I also know this is what's going to have to take with my energy and my muscle mass so that I can do it. And I'm not afraid of the food when it's quote unquote running season. And I don't run hard. I'm not going for any time. I just want to be outside and wiggle my body, right? So I want to share these 4-letter words. I know I've held you on long enough. The first 4-letter word is lift, L-I-F-T. Muscle mass is the only thing that's going to activate all of this magic. Muscle mass is the only thing that decreases as we age. Muscle mass is the only thing that if you're not fueling muscle, there's no way you're going to lose fat. Now, you could lose weight. So if you're starving yourself and you're doing all the things, you're going to lose weight. That's calories in versus calories out. Simple equation. But until you learn to preserve that lean muscle and or build that lean muscle, you might be doing too much. And what does that mean? So a part of that lean muscle, a part of that lift is your basal metabolic rate. It's the amount of calories you need to live without any activity. So if you were laying in bed, that's the amount of muscle mass that you have for your existing metabolism. It goes up as you increase muscle mass, meaning if I'm eating 1,800 calories a day and I'm burning 2,500 calories a day, and my BMR is about 1,600. That's a 900 calorie difference from my BMR to my total expenditure. I can still be in a deficit without having to do as much activity because I'm already fueled. So that's the first one, lift, which involves BMR. The only way to increase muscle mass or increase your BMR is to lift. You've got to increase your muscle and eat. Lift and food. There. Ooh, that's two. That's 2 4-letter words. Me likey. The third 4-letter word is rest. Because if you're not giving your body ample rest, and I don't mean go take a nap. Let's say your workouts call for a 3-minute rest in between sets. That means you rest so that you can hit the next lift with the same amount of intensity that first lift needed. It means you rest. You aren't moving from machine to machine to burn more calories. No. If you want to do less and burn more, you've got to do the rest. It sounds counterproductive, but I can tell you, friends, it's not. This was a game changer for me, a total game changer for me, because the minute my body was allowed to rest, it then started to create that lean muscle. Because I was doing so much, I was cannibalizing that existing muscle, forcing me to work out more. So I increased my muscle mass by lifting, by understanding that BMR. I increased my muscle mass by lifting and eating. And then I rested so that my body could recover. That rest, even during the day, even during my workouts, took enough stress off my body that I could start sleeping better. So instead of 4 hours, maybe I was getting 6. I can't tell you what that feels on the body if you've gone years without sleeping. It's a game changer. And I didn't have to knock myself out with melatonin or anything like that. I didn't have to use anything additional. My body was just like, oh, thank you. So lift, food, rest. I've got one more silver bullet. I'll get to that in a second. There's 2 scientific 4-letter words that I want you to be aware of, that we work on this all the time. And I'm going to tie it back to a few of these words. So again, if you're not already watching this on YouTube, you need to, because I'm really using my hands, guys. So the lift, food, rest. The fourth 4-letter word is TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. What does that mean? There is a total daily amount of calories that you burn in a day. So if you're running kids, if you're doing extra steps at work, if you have a walking pad at your desk, let's say you get up and fold laundry and you're chasing kids at night and then you work out. And then let's say Hubs wants some sexy time. That's a lot of calories burned. You may only be accounting for what you burned in your workout and not even understanding how active your day might be. When I finally did the math on my total daily energy expenditure, I was eating 1,000 calories a day, and I was burning 2,500 calories a day. I was trying to burn 1,000 at the gym alone, and did not understand why I could not lose, because there was so much of a deficit. My body was cannibalizing all the existing muscle I was trying to create. TDEE, you have to understand your total caloric burn. And the cool part about TDEE, it's made up of a few different pieces. Your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, we talked about that, which is your muscle mass, right? Your existing metabolism. You can increase your metabolism and increase your metabolic rate, and you can increase your muscle mass by lifting and resting and eating. Yeah. So your BMR, it's also made up of NEAT calories, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. What does that mean? Steps, walking, laundry, bathing, sexy time, right? All of those non-exercise activities you do throughout your day. Let's say you're carting babies up and down stairs all day. Holy hell, I can't even, like, my kids are grown. I can't even imagine what I was burning when I was that young because I was chasing babies. BMR, NEAT, TEF, which is the thermal effect of food, i.e., the more food you eat, the more energy you actually can technically burn, especially if you space it out. And then EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis. So your BMR is about 60% of your total daily energy expenditure. So however much muscle mass you have on your body accounts for about 60% of your total daily caloric burn. After that, the NEAT calories, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, your steps account for 15. And then your exercise activity thermogenesis, so time at the gym, time lifting, you jump, you run, all the burpees, blah, 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 only account for 10%. If you're spending an hour a day trying to burn 1,000 calories at the gym, you are doing yourself a disservice. Should I say that again? No, because we're going over on time. And then finally, TEF, thermal effect of food, that accounts for 15%. So if you're not eating enough, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You're making your exercise even harder to try and make up for this. So once you understand your TDEE and your BMR and how it can work for you, you can do less and gain more in the aesthetic that you want. I do so much less. It's astonishing. And the minute I can get people to master that and automate it, it's like this weight is lifted off their shoulders. Like, I've been doing this wrong for so many years. This feels better. And I'm like, yeah, no duh. Welcome to the cool side. The final 4-letter word you need to master. And I'm going to sound like a broken record. But if you don't master this, your body will continue to stay in chaos. The 4-letter word is agua, water. You must hydrate. You must hydrate. If you're not already at a gallon a day, you need to get there. Now, some people will say, oh, you need to have your body weight. Great. Well, that requires math. And then guess what? I'm going to stop at 2 bottles. Start at a gallon, and then you may not need as much, but I guarantee you're dehydrated. I promise you. I promise you're dehydrated. Because if your body's dehydrated and you're doing all the other things right, if you're dehydrated, your body is sending signals to your brain like, yo, we're drying up in here. We need help. And so whatever fat loss goal you may have, your body's like, sorry, we're not going to focus on that. We're dry as a desert in here. And those 5 words are why my 16-week program is so effective. I work with my clients. My coaches work with you to understand just how active or inactive your day is. You may you may think, oh, I'm sedentary. And the minute we look at your TDEE, I'm like, bro, you're chasing a 2-year-old. You're not sedentary. You're just putting some effort where it doesn't need to go. And then how do we fuel your body for that? How do we control and manage and teach you how to beat stress so that you can finally rest? And then how do we teach you how to automate this for the rest of your life? I had a call earlier today with one of my clients and she said, I finally just had to resolve the fact that I don't need to make my meals glamorous. I'm spending way too much time trying to make this variety of meals when I don't care. I'm like, yes, it doesn't matter. Find what you like, find what works for you, find your staple meals, and then just change the flavor of sauce you use with it every day. At some point, I'm usually eating chicken or steak and a vegetable and a starch, a carb. And then I just change how I flavor it, whether it's salsa or barbecue sauce or like whatever. And my meals change daily, but I'm still using the same base ingredients. I can promise you'll save a lot of time if you do that. Guys, I know I went really long today, but I wanted to make sure that we went into all of these tactics because they're not marketing. It's science. And if you already have these tools and you're not using them, maybe you don't need to pay for a program. Maybe you need to pay for a coach that's going to help keep you out of your own way and keep you from searching for that silver bullet, because there's not a silver bullet, my friends. It's tactics repeated day in and day out. so that you don't have to think about this for the rest of your life. Guys, I hope this hit. I hope you share this with a friend. This is Ask Any Coach. They're going to tell you the exact same things. They'll be like, oh, yeah, that's how you do it. These are pretty easy tactics too. And if you have any questions on your own 4-letter words, shoot me a message. This is stuff clearly I like to talk about since I've gone on for 30 minutes. So with that, Mr. Matthew will be back this week. Promise, for episode number 100. Anything, y'all? We'll see you next time.